Alright guys, welcome to a brand new series here on the Son of Scotland TV channel, and I'm going to be reviewing the entire series of Marvel's The Punisher. I'm a huge fan of John Bernthal, loved him in The Walking Dead. I've watched him in other things, he's been really good since that, and he deserved this lead role. He was fantastic in Daredevil, and I'm delighted to see that he is now getting his own feature TV series in The Punisher. But don't worry, I'm not going to masturbate over this guy and give every rating 10 out of 10 like Trev's Chantu does for The Walking Dead.
Our last Walking Dead video leading up to the start for The Walking Dead Season 8, which is tonight.
Now, I'm not sure what's more messed up, his massive, out of proportion arms that do not belong on that body, or the actual Walking Dead show itself. But anyway guys, I digress. Let's talk about the first episode here of The Punisher, titled 3 AM, and it was called 3 AM for a reason, which we'll talk about later in this review. Anyway, The Punisher starts off, and as you know, you get your wee, like, couple 2-minute, it's not a trailer, but before the actual intro starts, you know, you always get like a wee kind of 2-minute segment, or whatever you want to call it, and it kind of started off showing us Frank Castle. Now, obviously, Frank Castle's chasing down bad guys, and you'll learn more about this as the show starts. But you see him with his wife, with his family, and then he just freaks out playing a guitar, and he goes all Shane. He goes psychotic Shane, like in the Walking Dead Season 2, and then he takes out a bunch of bikers. He takes out some Mexican cartel guy. He strangles some dude in the toilet, and he made him feel lots of pain. No pleasure there, but there was two guys that thought they were, like, I don't know, having a gangbang in the toilet while Frank is choking the hell out of some Irish guy who was trying to get on a flight to Dublin, but not so fast, son. The Punisher has caught you. And then we see Frank throwing his Punisher jacket into the bin. This Irish guy, he was the last person involved in killing Frank's family, which they mention, and then looks like Frank is no longer interested in going around hurting people. He throws his jacket, the Punisher jacket, into the bin, and I think that's his way of saying, sets on fire, and that's his way of saying, look, everyone killed my family, they're all dead, they've all been, taken care of, there's not a lot I have to do, and I don't want this life anymore. So, you know what, he burns the Punisher jacket, and he no longer is the Punisher. Then we get the intro, and the show starts, and Frank is no longer Frank Castle, he is now Pete Castiglione, and he is working on like a building construction yard, and he's hammering away. It's kind of like old Frank or old Shane, he's got like anger and frustration, and he's just pummeling away at the wall with a sledgehammer. You see a couple of Frank's co-workers, they seem to be like dicks. There is the leader, Lance, and he seems to be going around, intimidating everyone. He calls he calls Pete names. Pete doesn't seem to respond, but he's not nice, and he seems to call him like degrading names like retard and stuff like this. And obviously Pete has his Lance, obviously he has his followers, because you don't get bullies by their own. They've always got their wee sidekicks and shit like that. Some new guy starts, and straight away he seems to try to get involved with Lance, and you're thinking, oh my god, this guy's going to become a dick as well, which hopefully isn't true. So you basically see Frank working a lot, and then you see him having breakdowns, and you're obviously missing his family, and it is sad, man, it really is. Then we get introduced to a new character called Curtis Hoyle. We find out that he served in the Navy along with Frank. And he does like these talk meetings, I guess, where people who, like classes and shit, people who need help and got no one to talk to, and then they discuss, things like that, like a help group or whatever, support group for veterans and stuff like that are struggling after they've been, released back home into, normal life, people that can't cope. So he's helping them. And we see Frank, who also tags along. He gives Curtis back a book and have a wee friendly conversation. Curtis tells Frank, now Pete, that he should get on with life, start enjoying life, man. Don't be so doom and gloom. There's not a lot you can do. You've killed everybody who was involved in your family's death. It's now time to enjoy the rest of your life. Pete, though, does not seem to see it that way, and then he leaves the support group there. So anyway, I kind of like this Curtis guy. Seems like a good chap. Seems like a gangster. Seems like a good nigger, a good homie. And yeah, so then we get more of the construction yard stuff, and you just see that these the bullies, man, Lance and this other faggot friend Polly, they're really testing the patience of Pete, man. You can just see that he's about to absolutely snap. You feel that's what he's about to do anyway, but they keep pushing him and pushing him. They tell him that he's working too hard, and because of him they're not getting overtime, stuff like this. Then they squish his sandwiches, which I thought, it was really sad. Like, when I seen him squish Pete's sandwich, it was sadder than any death in The Walking Dead for like the past 4 or 5 years. That's how sad it was. But then we get Donnie, the wee new guy, the wee Mexican. He actually goes up, speaks to Frank, and he shares a sandwich with him. Talks to him about how his dad used to be in the Navy and how he died thanks to some young driver hit him. Pete tells him, fuck, keep getting Pete and Frank mixed up, even though they are the same people. But yeah, I understand, a bit confusing. But Pete tells him that he's not really interested in a friend and that he doesn't want any buddies, but he appreciates the sandwich, which was nice. It was a nice touch, man. Then we get introduced to Agent Madani. Not bad. Hot. She's alright, like, I mean, probably give her 7 out of 10 maybe. Decent enough looking. She is the new agent, and she comes in, she drives in a car, sits down, top agent, she gets fucking introduced to her junior. Seems to be a wee bit of friction, doesn't respect him. She says that he needs to earn her trust. And then we get Carson Wolf, who comes in, and he is like the lead guy. He is the top man. He is the authority figure. They're superior. And he basically shuts her down when she wants to run with the Abdur Sabjul case, or whatever this wee guy was called, man. I cannot remember. But it was some Afghanistan cop that was shot in the head by Americans over in Afghanistan when he found out that they were trafficking heroin, and she wants to bring this case to America. She wants to try and figure out who was behind it, and obviously she wants to look into leads. One of those leads is Frank Castle, but Carson Wolf tells her not to bother, that he does not allow it, and she will not touch this case, and that most people would give their left tit to have that job, and she wants to have the job tits intact, and I wouldn't mind seeing her tits intact. So they go. So it's like basically the guy telling her not to run it, but I got a feeling she's going to run it anyway. So then we cut back to the construction yard. One of these asshole bullies breaks his arm in an accident, which causes a bit of trouble for them because Polly and Lance, they've got some sort of gang bang robbery happening tonight. They're going to rob a very rich poker game, and he was one of their man. It was a 4-man job, and he's injured, so that puts them in a bit of a dilemma. So they ask the new kid, Donnie. Donnie seems to want to know more about it, but Polly tells him that you're either in or you're out, kid. So Donnie agrees to go and do it, and off they go. They rob the family. Unfortunately, though, while Donnie is bagging the money, he kind of gets caught in. He gets the bag caught in a chair, and he falls over. Man, this passport comes out. It reveals his name, and the top man, the leader of this, I'm assuming he's the leader, sees it, and basically Donnie has fucked up. He tells them that they're all dead, and Donnie, Polly, and Lance make a run. Polly wants to seem to cap them all, but Lance isn't really interested. He just wants to get out as possible. They get back to the construction yard, and Donnie apologises. He says he won't give any of them up, but then they start beating the shit out of him, and basically they're going to kill him, but shooting him in the head's not enough. They want to bury him in the cement mixer. So Donnie, fearing for his life, runs. He gets caught. He gets bashed in the head, and they chuck him in the cement mixer. And man, what a fucking sad way to go. But unfortunately for these guys, it's 3 AM, and Frank, or should I say Pete, could not sleep. So it turns out that Frank / Pete is turned up at the construction site, and he is doing some late night hammering, and he does some more hammering in a couple